Today is September 20th, 2025. Agent John, you need to be listening, and you honestly do. There's a lot at stake right now, including the whole case, and what happens to the drug dealers that got arrested and human traffickers, and the consequences of your actions, and how you either stand up and do the right thing, or the case will fall. See, that's where this whole thing. I'll start back. August 13th, 24. I was so tired working 2 jobs. Okay, travel time. I was here early to get my notary redone. I had worked till 11 o'clock that night before, half-hour drive home, had to get a shower. Well, the next morning, I had to be at the time slots of where they have the videos to renew it. And Carl insisted on taking me. Okay. He took the long way there, and I was already car sick from not sleeping and everything. And we were about a block away. And I said, well, just park here, I'll walk. I needed some air. He's like, no, I'll drive you. Just being nice. And I'm like, no, I need air. I just needed to get some fresh air in my face, wake up, get rid of the nauseous feel. And he's trying to insist. And I'm like, no, I'm not Brenda. I'm Karen. I can walk. Well, I go in the bar association, and there's a guy with a Middle Eastern look, white with black hair, black beard. Looked at me and said, we didn't appreciate the way you talked to him. Oh, hell no. I go in for my training. I go to leave. Get in the car. By then, I'm pissed. I get in the car. He's like, you must be tired. I'm fine. You must be tired. I said, I'm fine. And he kept saying it and saying it. And I finally looked at him. I said, look, don't tell me how I feel. I said, I'm fine. Well, you have to be tired. I said, I'm fine. I don't tell you how to feel. Don't you dare tell me how I feel. I don't tell you you're too tired, that you can't go work at your farm, can't do this, can't do that. I said, I'm fine. Then I'm fine. And I got in my car. He dropped me off at my car. I went up and picked up my client. Went to Mark's on North Main in Canton. Okay, North Canton, actually. And there's 3 guys walking around me, and they're looking at me up and down. She's too uncontrollable for what we need. Some lady like, boy, and probably what kept her alive with those people. A lady investigator came in, busted out laughing as I go in through the store. Boy, did she tell that guy off. No one will tell that girl how she feels. And laughing. Okay. And they said even the police that work her case won't say a word to her after everything she's lived through. And they all know that agent told on her before he spoke to her for calling the FBI hotline. Told everyone. And they all know he don't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. He's just a hired police officer. And he's already told. And they all know that he left her up there. And he didn't even pay her. And he's under investigation for stealing her informant money. A lot of people laughed. Some lady was up front and said, no, this is funny. They said you had charges. And you went to go and get your notary done. Can't even have an accusation. And another lady said they found the tape of the investigators telling the judges in Ravenna they found her innocent of everything. How years ago, how not funny this is. 9/18/19, the day of my divorce. Outside my room, the investigators are talking. For you had us look into it. You knew she couldn't handle it. You knew she'd appreciate us doing it. You could find she did nothing wrong. Judge Luda come in laughing. We're ready to begin. See, that's where, these people told people we had bruises before throwing up and infected. It wasn't the dirty wild water, it was us. We were drugging you until you say this. We were drugging you until you say that. And we were having you beat and raped. It's like psychos. We photoshopped all our lies. That's how they put it. They photoshopped all kinds of crazy crap, laughing in my face, including feminine wipes above a toilet in another room. And laughing at me how they frame me. What else did they find before them? Melissa telling the kids to lie. The kids on Thanksgiving of 18 that they made everything up. They were games of pretend. And they wanted the house for Auntie Shell and Puppo. And Officer Mark documenting it. That Melissa could have went to jail for involving herself in this. And that they wrote it up that her and the kids were only showing off for David and his girlfriend. And they're documenting mean jokes. What else? Where the FBI and the police had a huddle right after Thanksgiving of 18? Why are they having those kids make that shit up? They said they're just trying to scare her into giving up the house. That's it. We interviewed her whole family. They spoke highly of her. So, that makes you a victim. Yeah. Today, up in Summit Mall, I heard some girls walking. And when they were walking, they were talking before they went in the store. They said, we listened to her today about, years ago, I was in my apartment and heard this guy's voice outside. The flashback of being can't see, can't breathe. Every cell in my body screaming in agony. And I can't get air. It felt like my back's being ripped up into my chest. And every cell in my body screaming in agony. Couldn't catch my breath. I don't know who he is. But I heard his voice. And it took me a long time to calm down. Well, I finally calmed down enough. I went outside, hands still shaking, smoked a cigarette. Some guy was outside. His voice does that to her. Those girls were talking. We heard her say what happened when she heard that guy's voice. They said it was the guy that tortured her. He was outside. They said he helps follow her around. And it's not funny. He was telling people it was FBI. He works for that office that did this. All of them do. None of this is funny. See, that's where investigators, it should be September 18th, 25, Walmart West Tusk. They said it was that office down at the Tuscarawas County courthouse lying to everyone. And it was him and that guy and his men, the men that work for him. And then he said, it's not funny they're telling people they're the Portage County sheriffs. I told you, it's either Melissa's divorce attorney against John, or it's the guy in Maslin from the prosecutor's office that they talked about in 18 and 19. Said, What did he say? What did they say about him on January 25th, 2019? What is that guy's problem? Involving himself in crimes. Helping people get away with crimes. That one guy from the Massillon prosecutor's office, thinking he can help people get away with crimes. Nobody can do this. And what is his problem? Involving himself in crimes and helping people get away with them. Oh, they talked about him in 18, 19, and 20 a lot. Last week, some guy outside Golden Corral, Melissa's divorce attorney against John, might be involved. Well, we all know that one guy from the prosecutor's office is involved. He thought he could take the law into his own hands and do what he wanted. We told everybody to stay out of it. Do you know it's right on Google if someone from a prosecutor's office, a prosecutor included, insults an FBI informant, they can go to jail for 20 years. To say they're not reliable, they're not credible, they go to jail for obstruction to justice, tampering with a witness, and aiding and abetting crimes. Same with police. They can never insult an FBI informant. See, Agent John, where they said in 18, you say one word what we're doing. Why have you listed a liar? Nothing you say is credible. Will ruin your reputation until you can't testify in court against us. And everything will be thrown out. They had a plan for a backup plan. And where they have admitted that they used hypnotic drugs on me. And that's why I have no memory of those people before the FBI. Told you I had 3 weird memories. I thought they were nightmares. Footsteps, a syringe coming at me, and the room going dark, and then the screaming and smothering and agony. I thought they were nightmares. I take a shower, go get in bed, go to sleep, and wake up like bruises. Orange, lemon, grapefruit size. Severely infected. Throwing up, headache, almost passing out. All I did is take a shower. I would be outside working, come in, wash my hands, make something to eat and drink, and I had a 2-liter Diet Coke, pour it in a glass. Go in and use the bathroom, wash my hands, better come out and take a drink. And the room would go dizzy and black and the same. Kept happening. And I thought just getting in contact with that well water was killing me. Give me cancer. Even told the doctor that. Is it the dirty well water? Never seen or talked to anybody. Never even had my neighbors in my home. Had family repair guys, installation guys, and 2 Sally officers on August 8 of 18 lighting the security system. They told me it looked like an alien orb or an angry spirit and told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it. It is also on Google, not even a prosecutor's office, not an attorney. No one can be in your home outside a protected custody case with statements, with a court order, without a conflict of interest. No one can drug you either. It is pharmaceutical torture. Now, Agent John, August 4th, 25. They admitted the reason I had a metal taste in my mouth I couldn't get out. They were using hypnotic drugs to make me sleepwalk. That's why I have no memory. August 5th, 25, Dutch Valley Restaurant, Sugar Creek. They said, as if Agent John didn't know that they used hypnotic drugs when they drugged her and told her to say it before. He was telling people he knew she was being drugged, being raped before it started. He even let him torture. Is he some kind of coward? August 7th, 25, Walmart 62. Investigators show up. We got them again taped admitting to drugging her and telling her to say it before. And they even admitted they used hypnotic drugs. That's why she had a metal taste and she has no memory. We have them taped and calling Agent John a coward. Okay. August 31st, 25. I'm in Summit Mall, upstairs in Macy's. I heard some guy say that he got the tape of it. A man answers the phone. It is documented and verified that they gave her hypnotic drugs and drugged her and told her to say it before. And she has no memory of those people or what they did to her. No one's allowed to say a word. Another guy was up there and said it too. So she did say she had a metal taste in her mouth. Because hypnotic drugs make you sleepwalk. She has no memory. And then somebody said that they were going to tell Keith what was going on. Some lady downstairs, do you realize what we look like to her? She has no memory of any of those people from before. And we're yelling stuff at her. And they drugged her with those kind of drugs. And the hypnotic drugs, we already know it's verified. And she has no memory. And we're yelling stuff at her. And she has no memory. Do you realize what we look like to her? Insane. Now, just like July 24th, 25, investigator on a motorcycle. He said that tape of Weird with Yourself. We already knew it was the shower scene in the other room. They already confessed. We even did a body ratio. It wasn't even Karen. Somebody else showering, and they put her head on it and then put that in the other room. Where they said they photoshopped everything, they did. That's why nobody knew about it. Now, I want you to think. It is either the guy from the Maslin prosecutor's office where they were complaining it was him. And the 18 and 19, a lot. Involving himself to get away with crimes here. Helping and aiding and abetting the drug cartel. Those men that tortured me were with the Judge Peters group from Florida. You know, all you have to do is pull the Tuscarawas County Courthouse, September 10th, 25. They were there. The people that did this. We try to get restraining order against my new husband's stepchildren from his second wife that's took him for a horrible amount of money. Bullied him, threatened him, and I found out the one guy had even beat on him like 10 years ago. The judge let that circus show of them acting like crazy fools. And then try to say, my daddy. He's not their daddy. They're delusional. They had a real father. The last name was Blue. He raised Deb from the time she was a baby to 18 or whatever. And she was married 26 with a baby living with her husband. She never knew Carl as a father, but it's my daddy because it's my ATM. They made up a delusional lie that he's a millionaire and he's got $6 grand. They lied. And they believe their own delusional lies. What money he did get, they took it. And they've already got it. He told them that over a year ago. The big money's gone. I don't get stuff like that anymore. And they think he gets it all the time and he doesn't. They make up a lie and they believe the lie. And then that Lester and that Karen, they were teenage. Lester was 18, or not 18, but he was in his teenagers, and so was Veronica. That Blue guy was in the house with them and their mother 6 months before she married Carl. He was still very much alive and living in the local area. And where Carl was a long-distance truck driver, gone 6 days a week, he could have even been at his farm. He could have what? They probably went and seen their real dad. Why wouldn't they? Their parents just divorced. He lived in the same area. He lived in the same house 6 months before the divorce. See what I mean? Why wouldn't he see his kids? See, they had a real father. And so this daddy bit and orphan bit is nothing but a con. Because they think he's a millionaire. That's where that dad told me a year ago, you don't realize he has millions of dollars. I said he does not. He had ragged shoes on when I moved in. I buy him shoes. He don't need you to buy him shoes. I've even been buying the groceries. He doesn't have millions of dollars. I get off the phone and I said, Carl, where are you? You have a millions of dollars and you have me out working at night, you cat? He said, where is she getting this? She tells everybody he has millions of dollars. If he had millions of dollars, I sure wouldn't be renting a mobile home and only paying $900 a month as an apartment. You know what I mean? He sure wouldn't be driving a 14-year-old truck. Or wait a minute, how many years? 11? 12? Something like that. Something ridiculous. It's got rust in the back. He's a millionaire. We'd be living in a nice house. See, that's where I found out where he owes the oil company 66 grand. A couple years ago, they put a well on somebody else's property. Not his, but a neighbor's. Okay? That neighbor's rich. But because they needed to run a pipeline through his property, they gave him 160 grand. And then they gave him another 140 grand for the other one. And some of it was supposed to be mineral rights. You know, of how much oil they got out of it when they started it. Well, the company sold. They did an audit. They gave them way too much money. So they're making him pay it back. We're still negative 66 grand. We don't get no mineral rights from that well. Tried to sell it to an oil company. They didn't want it. They said with them putting other oil wells other places, they'll just pull from what's underneath the ground and that well will probably never pay itself off. And see, I tried to tell his one daughter that, which understood it till she talked to one of the loony bins from Brenda, his second wife that passed away, her loony bin children. That oil rich land of my dad's is not her dad's land that's oil rich. It's the neighbor's. And because you live within a mile or two of the area, you get little compensation checks. Like one neighbor got $100. Carl, out of this other well that is near his property, in 3 months, he got $2,800. It comes out to $833 a month. That is not millions. It's $800. You know, there for a while, he was getting a couple $1,000 checks a month, which was nice because then it gave him spending money on whatever he wanted to do with it. But it wasn't millions of dollars. And see, that's where we try to tell him, we don't have money. We're a liar. You can't owe the oil company money. Yeah, we do. And that's where his son, Rick, threatening to bash both our heads in, take us out to Youngstown, have an attorney find us incompetent, and have everything signed over to him. I heard about that scam during my FBI case. They were threatening that with me. I thought you were just being scary. No, it's a scam. Throw Carl in a nursing home out there and they didn't know what they were going to do with me. I was probably going to be floating in the river. And his daughter, Audrey, wrote up a letter and had it notarized. He sent it to her. And in there for a while, she was scared till she talked to the loony bin. That girl trying to tell me he's a millionaire and not to believe me, we're in the negative. Well, I can call the oil company and have them tell her herself. See, there's a point in time to stop believing the $1,000,000 lie that's not there. See, the neighbor's rich, but you only get so much per how much land. See, that's where, even in Perry Township, when we lived on Lenox, when we bought our home, they said the owners of the house wanted to keep the mineral rights. They get like a $30 check, and they said they'd really like to keep it. And my husband at the time laughed and said, if they really want that $30 check so bad, they can keep it. See what I mean? But everybody in that whole area for miles got like $30. So it's where you only get your little compensation by how much land you own. And that's it. See, that's where the wells are not on his property. They're just near it. And the delusion of millions of dollars are not there. Now, his land, because he owns a lot, if you found the right investor, you may get good money, but maybe not. And see, that's where there's nothing really on it. A 200-year-old house that's fallen down, and another building falling down because it's so old. And then a barn. And then he leases out some land to a farmer to grow his crops. But there's nothing out there. See, that's where the whole thing, it was his father's. And if these people would have actually been good when he passed away, it would have went to them. And then he had even made a provision in it if he would have got hurt or last part of his life, if there was extra medical expenses for the land to take care of that and then be sold. If they wanted to buy it to pay off the medical expenses, they could have it. But you threaten somebody's life, you get nothing. They're already wrote out. And this delusion of Brenda's children, Mr. Blue's children, that they knew their father, that they're just con men. And that they're entitled because they call him daddy. Well, he never adopted them. They're not his children. They're not entitled to nothing. And see that, and that one guy, Lester, beat on him, and he even told that judge he beat on him. He's scared for his life. Oh, he can be around you. We go to leave that judge. Now, the whole courthouse should be bugged. Plus, my phone is tapped. Walked by that judge September 10th, 25. They were down here from that office. They said she's the biggest liar. There's nothing credible with what she said. And they spent thousands of dollars looking into it, never even seen anything. You'd have to be blind. They were all over me. And everyone wants to get even with her. So they let that crooked judge was going to let him kill Carl. Well, I turned her into the FBI. See, I'm going to be reporting her to the state too. She can't do this. And then as I walk by a doorway, you can hear this guy in a room. I had the right to do it to her. I had the right to know what I was up against. The guy that's afraid of a 51-year-old fat woman in a skirt. Thinks he has to hurt him. See, that's where they're saying that office was down there lying to the Tuscarawas County Courthouse that day. FBI needs to pull the surveillance of people that are doing it, or they're lying to them. Where after they called Agent John Coward, they said, why are they calling Agent John Coward? Well, they want the case thrown out. Not only is she not credible, but neither is he. He just opened the case under fraud. They didn't have a right around her. See, that's what they said in 18. They were going to get everything, that nothing could be used, and that she's a liar, not credible, and they had no right around her. So everyone they found under surveillance, they need to be released. They want the drug cartel released. And where they had told, where on April 6, 25, got to think of what they're doing. I went over to Danny and John's. Dixie and the girls were in there. And Dixie stood up and walked out to the kitchen. Nobody thinks it's funny she married that old man. Well, he's a sweetheart if you'd actually give him a chance. Said some lady investigator said she can extort all kinds of money out of the government for me and Melissa. An endless amount. So think where they were even telling people in other stores that they're going to get millions of dollars out of the government, an endless amount of money. Well, they're going to have the cartel sue for illegal arrest. Figured out how they're going to get the endless amount. Because my case don't have endless amount of money. But the government does. Where they said they want all the drug cartel released. They're going to sue him for illegally arresting him. You better get a backbone, mister. Some ladies, as I went to leave Summit Mall, said we found out that they had always said that they always knew Karen never lied to him. That agent opened a threat and attempt a life case for FBI informant. Those idiots walked into his office and confessed they were trying to kill her. Before he opened the case, they walked in and told that agent they were trying to kill her. Threat and attempt a life case. And everything else was caught under police surveillance. That's why they always knew she never lied. See, that's where the police have told people, we always knew Karen never lied. She can't lie to us. Everything's under police surveillance. It wouldn't anyways. The truth is bad enough. Do you know how horrifying it is? And then it makes me mad that rapist, the guy that tortured me, is a fake FBI agent. He works for either the Maslin prosecutor's office or Melissa's divorce attorney against John. And he's, like they said, people have been saying, they're the ones impersonating the Portage County sheriffs and that FBI agent that tortured me. And it's just men that work for him. They were also seen at Big Family Church in front of 3,000 people. Huh? 3,000 people said that they were from Florida. They worked for Judge Peters. And the people that were the fake Portage County sheriffs and the fake FBI agent was there too. And with those people. So where they said they're helping them get away with crimes, they were messed up with the cartel. They need arrested, Agent Johnny. You better tell them you had every right to open that case. Those idiots walked in, after I called the FBI hotline, they walked in your office. Admitted they were illegally monitoring me. They already knew I called FBI. They confessed they were trying to kill me. And where I had 2 Perry police reports of attempted break-in, they knew where the security system was, followed around by one of the church people's Facebook friends. 2 attempts. And she's talking about other ones. And they're saying they're trying to kill her because some idiot called her a faker. You made sure on a recorded line. You may have went a roundabout way, but you mocked me for all of this. And then, you know what, though? It documented it in the case on the recorded line. Think of what you said. That you knew all this was happening. And it's all, so it'd be documented. You may have acted like you were going along with it. And to get them, but I'll tell you what, it's got documented. That you had that family that her father killed her kid in that traffic accident that I had nothing to do with. And apparently, we were March 27, 25. I stayed up and went through everything. Some guy was outside my client's, right below the room. You could hear him talking. Said he just broke up with Michelle. They said it was Officer John. He got it out of her when they bashed in my head. They tried to kill me or leave me incompetent. It didn't work. And the reason I don't know who that doctor is from before, he works for them, and they had lied that he was one of my doctors, and I actually don't know who he is. And that he got it out of Dave, a girlfriend from before me, made him marry me so he could get a job at my dad's factory, and she'd have free insurance to use. The woman using my insurance was one of Dave's girlfriends. Ran up all those bills in my name. Half my medical records are hers. You know how long, ungodly, she went nuts on my insurance. You didn't have to show ID back then. And he'd even got it out of the Vegas. Ask him why on earth would they say that it offended him 6 months later after a traffic accident I had nothing to do with, that someone called me a faker. They said they lied. It didn't even concern them. They just wanted people to help out. So they lied and offended him. It had nothing to do with him. People have been talking. They got a hold of Officer John, and he did get all that from everyone. And so that's where you got to think. Their father murdered their kid. He was speeding, ran a stop sign at a semi, and killed them both. I wasn't even there. And 6 months later, someone calls me a faker when they thought I was following their son and his mistress, and it was my sister following her husband. They thought it was me, so he made up a baby lie and called me a faker. And it was a medication error. He already knew that. Huh? It's wrote up as medical malpractice, medication errors, and fraud. 2002, and then addressed years and years later of the medical fraud. Medical malpractice, medication errors, they were just ripping me off. Making me sick, they almost killed me, and it took me 9 months to get well. In the middle of me getting well, starting November 2002, by April I'm almost well of 2003, May 3rd, 2003, Brian had to show up and tell us about the traffic accident that happened on the way to a church baseball game, but we were all home because Dave was replacing some carpets. Had the guys stay home and help him. And so Brian showed up and told us. And then in July, I finished getting well. And in November of 2003, my sister came up to me that she was following Tim and Katie again, and they got caught. And she got caught, and they thought it was me, and to be careful. And Strange made up that lie the next Sunday and took my son Danny and pushed him to suicide, and made up that lie just to cover up Tim and Katie. Made sure I wouldn't come back. Danny was in counseling for a couple of years. That church is not funny. And then to have these people on Strange making up a lie in 03 and waiting till 2018 and trying to make sure that Melissa, or John's divorcing Melissa, that she gets everything. And then my ex-husband, well, we're going through our divorce to make sure he gets everything and have me harmed like this. It's sick and it's disgusting. You should have arrested them all the first day. I know you wanted the drug cartel. See, that's where even the Hartville police had told people that all the police know that agent told on me for calling the hotline before he spoke to me. He told all the police he was just acting that way to get the drug dealers. They got all those drug dealers off my case. And then he didn't pay me. And they were afraid that he tricked everyone and he did it to steal. You've been under investigation for a year for stealing from the case. My friend Grant lives in a different state. He has a friend that is in an FBI office, and he even said that if that agent didn't pay her, and that's what's going on, it was his responsibility to hand her that money. The only one that could have took it is him. All cases come with money and immunity. And he doesn't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. He's only a higher police officer. It takes a judge due to the freedom of speech. See, that's what the Stark County Prosecutor's Office, Walter Moss, told me. He's only a higher police officer. And it takes a judge in a jury trial only to put a gag order on you. It's a freedom of speech. He's just a higher police officer. He was only bullying you. It can't be in the court order. It was illegal for him to even say it. And the police would know that. See, that's what a criminal attorney told me too, and the police I talked to. Was only bullying you. And then he's already told, then it becomes stupid. I like my money. I need it really bad. And it's unsettling, the thought. They said that that guy that tortured me works for that office. And he's one of the ones that have been watching me. You need to get that office that's doing this.